Hey, what is up, guys? I am Hippie. I want to welcome you back to a brand new episode of Couchcraft. First off, I want to apologize that there was no videos out yesterday. So, by the time I ended up going to bed really late because of some stuff I had to do yesterday and something that I'm working on for YouTube. So, by the time I woke up this morning, it was already halfway through the day, and I just didn't have enough time to really finish the video or get it out in the quality that I would have wanted it in. I think I left some lapis in here. I hope it's still here. It is not. That is no good. I seem to have forgotten to bring my lapis with me. That really sucks. We need this pick for what we're going to do today. Um, yeah, so I apologize that the videos weren't out yesterday. By the time that I finished everything, I just didn't get enough chance. I guess we're going to have to run back to my base and then come back again. So that really sucks. I just came from the Skelly Farmer and got myself 30 levels. I also got some pretty cool stuff. I got a power 2, and an unbreaking 2. I plan on putting those two together later and hopefully trying to come up with like a power 5 bow. And then maybe if I can get like affinity or flame or something after, that'd be pretty cool. But we are going to do a level 30 pick enchant. I just made myself a diamond pick. I went mining after I lost my stuff to the Wither, and I think I was able to pull out like 19 or 20 diamonds last night. So I got like 22 or something still back at home. I might make some stuff later on. But for now, we're just going to be making a pick because we have to start digging some area out today. But yeah, today is going to be a very, very different thing than I've ever done before. And I'll kind of explain why. But first, I want to preference why I want to do this or why I am going to do this and why I'm starting to do this type of stuff. Um, One thing that I've always talked about on my channel is what I'm looking for is like a connection with you guys. I think that's the main reason that most people do start YouTube or start making videos is they want to entertain, or they want people, or they want to build a community with people, or even just give people some type of any type of reaction. I suppose there's even people that just make videos just to troll people and just to make people angry. But either way, those people are still starting their channel. They're still making those videos, and they're still trying to just get some type of, I guess, a response from somebody. And for the most part, I've always wanted to do that. But one thing I've always tried to do is not talk about my family, um, or even a lot of experiences that I've went through or experienced in my life. I've just tried not to talk about that stuff just because it's all negative energy and it's just very bad, and it just brings people down when you try to talk about that type of stuff. So for the most part, I never really talked about it. There's a zombie in that room. I just know it. Oh, he's probably in that wall. There's a false wall there. So basically, right here, we're going to be digging out an area that goes down like some type of an elevator. Um, but yeah, I try not to talk about that type of stuff, and I try to just block it all out and stuff like that. But um, lately I've had more people mentioning it, and kind of been thinking about it more myself. That I don't really let you guys know much about me. I don't talk much about my life or my family or anything like that. Past experiences, I don't talk about that much. Um, and I got talking with Jess the other day while we were recording some Unturned stuff, and I just kind of started telling him some stories about my grandma, and I don't know, he seemed kind of interested about it, so I didn't really want to talk about it on camera, but I guess I'm gonna do that today. Um, and it'll end up going pretty good for the Halloween videos because, as well, um, it kind of ties into that later on. But um, so yeah, I suppose I should just start it off by saying my grandma she's still alive today, but I haven't seen her or talked to her in probably about 8 or 9 years, I think it would be. So basically, the only way I can describe it is my grandma is literally the meanest, rudest, like self-obsessed, craziest person I've ever met. I'm not even joking with you guys. I'm not even kidding. Not gonna like make any of this dramatic or anything. I'm just gonna tell you guys literally facts about my grandma that should let you guys know a little bit about my upbringing and I suppose a little bit more about me. Um, so I was talking to Jess today, like I said, about my grandma, and I realized I've never told many stories about her. So I guess I should just start it off. Um, when I was like 4 or 5, I suppose it would have been, my grandma told my parents that she was going to end up losing her house because she couldn't afford to pay her bills. She didn't work, she couldn't work anymore, and she was caring for my uncle who is deaf and or not deaf, sorry, he's blind and can't walk. He's in a wheelchair. So she's been caring for him for the past 40 years or whatever since he was or since he had a surgery that left him like that. So she basically just told my parents, my mom, that she couldn't pay for the house. She was going to lose her house. They were going to be on the street. She couldn't. She wasn't able enough to care for my uncle anymore, and that it was all getting too difficult. She was too old, and although my mom said she went against her best judgment, her growing up with my grandma being raised by her, she knew how terrible she was and how absolutely insane and crazy she was. But she agreed to us, me, my brother, my sister, my mom, and my dad moving in with my grandma so that she wouldn't lose her house, and that they could help care for efficiency 4. That's it. Well, I suppose it's not too. I still got 30 levels. I should have brought some more stuff with me. That sucks. Um, and help care for my uncle as well. And so she decided to do that, and we moved in with my grandma. Um, Everything went real smooth for like the first, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, she immediately had one of her freakouts. Yeah, she just was really crazy, really mean, really rude. She would scream and yell at my brother and myself, and call us names and swear at us, and all that stuff. She was just a really, really bad person. Um, One of the things that she used to do. Now, I apologize that I'm like laughing, or if you hear me snickering or anything, don't think that I think any of this is funny. This is just some type of I don't know. My way of dealing with things is really weird. I just, instead of crying and getting angry or freaking out, I just try to laugh things off these past few years or whatever. So yeah, like I said, my uncle, who also had some problems and also used to have freakouts and stuff like that, due to some brain damage that he had during his childhood, basically left him with the mental state of like a 12-year-old around there, maybe a little bit younger. So he'd have these violent kind of outbursts or whatever, but he'd also freak out. So they'd get into shouting matches, my uncle and my grandma, and my grandma would walk across the room and just start smacking him up. He's a grown man, I should say, and she'd just be smacking him up in his wheelchair and stuff like that. She would push his walker out from underneath him while he was walking. I shouldn't say he couldn't walk. He could walk with the aid of a four pronged walking assister, and he would walk with that. Um, and yeah, she would wait until he started walking, and she'd push it out from under him and make him fall and stuff like that. And um, some nights he would fall down the stairs or whatever, and I'm not even sure if he fell down the stairs or if my grandma like straight up pushed him down the stairs. It's hard to say. Um, but yeah, she was just a really abusive person, and when my mom was little, she was even worse. So I should say that my grandmother used to be a alcoholic and a drug addict. She wasn't while the time that I had lived there. She had, I guess, cleaned herself up at that juncture, I suppose. Um, but yeah, she would get drunk, get arrested, get high, get arrested. Um, and at the age of like 4 years old, that was my mom. She would leave her like 7-year old brother to look after her, the 5-year-old brother, 4-year-old brother, um, and a, like I said at the time, handicapped like 9-year-old or whatever. Um, and she would leave the 7-year-old to look after all these people while she went down to the bar, or whatever it was that she was doing, trying to get some drugs or whatever, some pot or whatever it was she was looking for. Um, But yeah, she did a lot of really really bad stuff. She would steal from people. Um, Stole from her own parents and stuff at the time. She would steal money from like me and my brother. She'd go into like our piggy banks and steal like money from there. Really really bad stuff. She would send. It's just it's crazy thinking about it. But she would send my mother and her brothers, who at the time were like 5 years old, into this little old lady's basement that lived nearby through the window, and have them steal like soaps and like paper and stuff like that, so that way she didn't have to buy any of that stuff. Um, so yeah, that was something she would do. She'd steal from old people. Um, I'd say one of the craziest thing that she ever did was this was not too long ago. This was like when she was in 45, 50 years old. So she wasn't like no young wild kid or anything. She was already a grown adult at this time. She was either drunk or on drugs or something. I can't remember the exact story. Um, but she basically rode through the gates of a military base. Um, and this was a long time ago, so the military didn't act as they would today. I think if she would have done that today, they probably would have like shot her. But she just plowed right through the military barricades or barricades and just went right into the military base with her car. So they ended up calling my mom and said, "Hey, you're gonna have to come pick up your mother because she's plowed through our military gates, and now she's under arrest from the military police." So she got arrested and all that type of stuff. But it's not uncommon. She's been arrested multiple times in the past. So let me count something out real quick. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I got to go back 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, how nice. And then I also got to count 11 in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that's 11. Let me count just one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But yeah, my grandma was just very, very, very crazy. Um, she did a lot of really bad stuff when she was younger, as an adult, and all kinds of stuff. I was telling Jess a story, and I figured I'd tell you guys real quick. So basically, my grandma did like a lot of drugs, bought drugs, sold drugs, all kinds of stuff like that. One time, she got this boyfriend who was an undercover cop, and she was dating this guy for this would have been in like the maybe early '80s or something. Was dating this guy who was an undercover cop for a while, and was taking this guy to all around to her buyers and her sellers. So um, after like 6 months of being with this dude, and my mom kept telling her, she's like, that guy he's a narc, right? She's like, no, 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 he's not a narc. He's my boyfriend. He would tell me if he was a cop. And my mom's like, all right, well, whatever. You're gonna get in trouble. It's your fault. Um, and my grandma, or this at the time, my mom would have lived there too, but they lived in a really, really small town. I think at the time it was something weird like 5,000 complete population for the town. And after being with this guy and taking him around to all of her buyers and sellers, he ended up doing a huge bust, the police, on this town, and got everybody that was purchasing, selling, using drugs, and all that stuff. Um, and he ended up busting like some 300 people or something insane like that. So just think of the percentage of the people that were in the town that then got busted. That's a huge percent. And basically that put a target on my grandmother's back. Since she had gotten all these people arrested, somebody had basically put a hit pretty much out on my grandma. And her boyfriend at the time, well, I don't know if it was her boyfriend, I suppose. It was some guy that she was friendly with. I don't know any other way to really say that, to be honest with you. But yeah, so this guy goes into her house when it's just her in there, and almost beats her to death with the butt of a shotgun. So she didn't go to the police or anything after that either anyway, so I don't know why. But yeah, so she just almost got beat to death by a guy with a shotgun, and I don't know if he meant to kill her or if he just meant to beat her up or whatever he meant to do, but yeah, so that happened as well. Let's see what else. So she used to either, like I said, leave her kids at home alone when she went to the bars, or she would actually take her kids with her and take them to the bars as well. So my mom was telling me stories, because my mom tells me all these stories now. She doesn't really care, so she's told me all these stories over the years, and like they get more and more crazy and weirder and just more outrageous and unbelievable at the same time. But knowing my grandma and living with my grandma for over all them years, I don't doubt the stories at all. Like, I know 100% that they're the truth and that these stories are accurate. But yeah, so she would take her kids to the bar at like 4 and 5 years old and leave them with strangers and have them watch them while she took like guys home or whatever, you know. And yeah, it was just kind of crazy. And then my mom's stepdad. So this was, I should say real quick too. She also married this guy that became my mom's stepdad. That was absolutely insane himself. He had killed people, and instead of taking prison time, had agreed to do tours in Vietnam, which he probably killed more people and more innocent people and stuff like that. So that wasn't a very good option for them to give him. But yeah, he was killed. Well, they don't know that he killed, but he was involved in 2 killings that he took Vietnam tour time instead of prison time, and got off completely free. But he ended up dying in a truck crash, which is a complete other story itself, because not sure if it was an accident or if they were run off the road or if the kid that was driving had done something or if it was a cover-up. It's a completely another story as well. But basically, my mom's stepdad had died when she was about 13 or whatever. And after a lawsuit, in a wrongful death lawsuit, and also in health insurance and life insurance, it left my grandma with just over $1 million. And she somehow managed to spend that $1 million in just over a few years on drugs and alcohol and throwing parties and buying guns and stuff for her boyfriends and all kinds of craziness like that. So she would buy alcohol and drugs for teenagers, teenage boys in the area, and trade the alcohol and drugs for how can I put this kindly, doing the do. So yeah, not only was she like breaking the law by doing drugs and giving alcohol to minors, she was also doing them and having the sex with the minors. So yeah, not very good role model, I suppose. But my mom somehow managed to wind up raising me all right. So I guess that's the good thing. But yeah, my grandma has like almost got herself killed with that military thing. Then she almost killed herself. She was getting into a fight with her boyfriend at the time. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm just able to rattle these stories off so quickly out of my head, there are literally thousands of stories of my grandma being either neglectful, crazy, trying to kill people, killing almost herself, almost killing everyone around her, or doing drugs, or being whacked out of her mind, doing all kinds of craziness. There's literally thousands of those stories. So, like, these are just the ones off the top of my head that I remember. If I were to really think about it, or even ask my mom about some of these stories, I could go on for hundreds and hundreds of videos just telling you guys about how crazy my grandma is. And that's just my grandma. I could then branch off and tell you guys about my aunts and my uncles and my great aunt, my cousins, and just how crazy my family is. And I guess that's kind of why I haven't really told any of these stories about my family, is just that they are just so crazy. So, um, yeah, I just haven't really talked about any of that, I suppose. But I figured since I got to do some like mining work today, I figured I would talk about that type of deal. But anyway, back to the story that I was leading to. My grandma had gotten into a fight with her boyfriend at the time. And so she went into the house and grabbed a really old pistol, and came out, took aim, and tried to kill the guy. And because the pistol was so old, I'm gonna go make a couple of chests. Because the pistol was so old, it backfired and shot herself in the hand. Um, but my mom was telling the story, and she said from her perspective, um, my grandma just came running into the house, holding the hand on her stomach, um, and blood just coming everywhere. So my mom thought that she shot herself in the stomach, or that she was gonna die or whatever. But luckily, I suppose for her, she just shot herself in the hand, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, she tried to kill a guy, and it shot her in the hand, and oh man, it just sounds so ridiculous. I hope you guys legitimately believe these. I understand that they could be a little bit difficult to believe, but I promise you, literally everything I tell you is completely legit. Like, I'm not making anything up or anything. My grandma legitimately did all this stuff, and yeah, it's even worse than that. I could go into detail about how she like tried to get me and my brother taken away from my mom, and tried to get us put into foster care, and tried to get my mom like locked in an insane asylum, and all this stuff that she tried to do. Just I don't actually know why, just to be a jerk, I suppose, or just to do it, just because she could, I suppose. But yeah, like the other thing that's like, this one's kind of, I don't know. It's up to you if you want to believe it or not or whatever. But um, there was a legend or a rumor. I gotta talk to my mom about this more before I really go into detail about it. But there was a legend or a rumor that my grandma had practiced witchcraft, and that she was a witch, and that she tried to put curses on people, and she tried to do all this evil stuff, and um, tried to put curses on like me and my brother, and just like really, just I don't know. She's just a really bad person. And one of the things that she like had all these like witchery books and all these black candles, and when they moved into a house, she'd put like a pentagram upside down, like for satanic worship on the walls, and she'd put all this stuff. And my mom was telling me about it, and she's talking about at the time when her stepfather was alive, like he wouldn't allow any of that stuff. He was like, "No, you're stupid," and like would burn her books and stuff like that. Which I suppose is, if you go by the legend, it's like even worse to do that type of stuff. But yeah, she would try to put like spells on people and try to curse people and do stuff like that. And I'll talk a little bit about something upcoming this Halloween, but I don't want to ruin it for now. I got some stories that I wanted to tell about my grandma and stuff like that. But one second. Okay, well, I suppose it's time to start wrapping up, I guess. I was able to do quite a bit of work, and I guess tell you guys quite a bit. I won't do any more recording until this video comes out tomorrow on Tuesday. What I would like for you guys to do is leave a comment in the comment section what you guys think of this type of format, me just trying to do some stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of work in between, but do you guys want me to just sit and tell stories about my childhood and growing up with absolutely crazy family? And I guess if you want to, I could tell some more stories about my grandma. I could ask my mom some stuff about her. She lived with her for 30-something years throughout her entire lifetime. So, yeah, I guess just let me know what you guys are thinking, and I can maybe do some more of this. But, yeah, I suppose that's going to do it, though, for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been Hippie, and I'll see you guys next time.